Picture the Pacific Coast Highway on a clear morning, the kind of morning travel magazines photograph and investors romanticize. Endless blue water to your right, a jagged skyline of cliffside mansions to your left. It looks like stability, permanence, luxury frozen in place. But beneath that picture-perfect postcard is a market quietly shifting under everyone's feet. The signs are subtle at first, a few more price-reduced banners, listings that remain active longer than they should, insurance notices arriving with higher premiums, buyers walking away from deals that just 2 years ago would have sparked bidding wars. California's coastline has always been aspirational, but aspiration is not the same as value. And today, the coastal market is exposing cracks most buyers don't want to see. This is not a collapse, it's a recalibration, a slow, grinding shift from blind optimism to cautious analysis. And the people who ignore it risk making the most expensive mistake of their financial lives. Today, we're breaking down this shift, city by city, from San Diego County to the cliffs of Malibu. We're analyzing real inventory, insurance withdrawal, buyer psychology, investor retreat, rental softening, and the underlying forces tightening around California's most iconic coastline. By the end, you will understand exactly why this market no longer behaves like the market of the last decade, and why anyone entering it now must operate with sharper eyes, stricter numbers, and far more discipline. Let's begin. 10. Oceanside, the first cracks in the foundation. Oceanside was once the last reasonably priced coastal city in San Diego County. For years, it absorbed overflow demand from buyers priced out of Carlsbad, Encinitas, and Del Mar. It was the value play of the northern county coastline. That value advantage is evaporating. Inventory surge active listings have risen dramatically, not a small bump, an inflection point. Homes that used to receive 3 offers in a weekend now sit for over a month. The psychology of urgency, once the lifeblood of this market, is gone. Silent equity erosion. Median prices have slipped a few percentage points. A casual observer might shrug at 3%, but that represents tens of thousands in evaporated equity and a signal that pricing power is weakening. Rentals under pressure. Tourism-heavy investors are discovering the downside of Airbnb math. Higher interest rates and rising operational expenses have squeezed returns. Many short-term units now operate with thinner margins or negative cash flow even during peak seasons. Early distress indicators, county records show higher delinquency rates, more early-stage foreclosures. More owners relisting properties after failed attempts. Not a crisis, but definitely pressure. Takeaway. Oceanside remains desirable, but affordability ceilings, shifting demand, and new inventory dynamics suggest one thing. This is the earliest warning sign of what happens when price growth outpaces wage growth and cost stability. Patience in Oceanside isn't caution, it's strategy. 9. Long Beach. Attractive on the surface, expensive. Underneath Long Beach is a city built on contradictions, working ports and luxury high-rises, affordable condos and million-dollar ocean views, urban density and beachfront living. But that complexity now spills directly into its housing market. Condo cost explosion. Many waterfront towers have hit a perfect storm. Mortgage payments, increasing HOA dues, rising insurance premiums, deferred maintenance assessments. Total monthly cost has become a financial anchor, not an amenity. Insurance retrenchment. Large carriers have begun reassessing risk in dense coastal zones. Some are pulling back or denying renewals. Where insurance becomes unpredictable, buyers retreat and pricing softens. Slower sales, velocity listings no longer vanish in days. Condos often take more than a month to move. Many sellers test the market, fail, withdraw, and wait. A market full of quiet sellers creates the illusion of stability. But the truth is in the data. More price reductions. Longer days on market. Flattened demand. Takeaway, Long Beach hasn't collapsed, but its numbers reveal a market that is recalibrating downward, especially where fees and insurance distort the economics of ownership. 8. Ventura. The affordability wall. Ventura has always been the quieter cousin of Santa Barbara and Malibu. Authentic, scenic, less chaotic, but quiet does not mean insulated. Affordability has broken home. Prices rose so aggressively during the last cycle that local income levels simply cannot support them. When affordability ratios break, a market stops functioning for residents and begins depending on investors, relocating buyers, equity-rich retirees. That creates fragility. Renter behavior. Shifting rents have leveled off and in some pockets declined, not because Ventura is undesirable, but because renters are doubling up, moving inland, seeking cheaper markets. Cutting discretionary spending. When rental growth stalls, investor appetite weakens. Insurance and coastal exposure, erosion concerns, storm patterns, new hazard disclosures, more expensive insurance options. These risks now shape buyer decisions, not emotionally, mathematically. Takeaway: Ventura is still beautiful, but prices are now more dependent on non-local demand, a risky foundation when affordability has hit structural limits. 7. Carlsbad, the remote work mirage fades. Carlsbad was one of the biggest winners of the remote work boom. Professionals fled city centers for cleaner air, bigger homes, and coastal access. That wave has slowed. Return to office consequences. Hybrid work is replacing remote-first culture. Commuting is back, at least part-time. Suddenly, living far from employment clusters feels less attractive. Demand has cooled. The data is clear. More inventory, more price reductions, longer selling times, softer luxury segment homes that once sold instantly now require patient sellers, short-term rentals. Hit-hard regulatory discussions and tourism fluctuations have made STR returns unreliable. Investors counting on record occupancy are reevaluating their positions. Takeaway: Carlsbad is still a high-quality market, but buyers now prioritize flexibility over square footage. The remote work premium that once inflated demand is decompressing. 6. Huntington Beach, the silent outflow. Surf City, USA is facing a demographic trend that doesn't make headlines but shows up in the housing math. Net outmigration. Residents are leaving. People who once saw Huntington as a lifetime destination are cashing out and relocating to Arizona, Texas, Idaho, inland California. When longtime owners sell and leave, inventory builds and demand must stretch farther to keep up. Insurance and flood mapping changes and federal flood maps have placed new burdens on homeowners. In some areas, insurance is mandatory. Premiums have surged. Deductibles are higher. Specialized carriers are required. These costs directly cut into buyer willingness. Aging housing stock. Older properties require upgrades that buyers price into offers. The calculus is straightforward. High purchase price, plus high insurance, plus renovation, captured lower buyer enthusiasm. Takeaway: Huntington Beach isn't collapsing, but the economics are tightening. What was once a guaranteed demand center now competes against cheaper, lower-risk states. 5. Dana Point, luxury losing leverage. Dana Point's redevelopment turned it into a polished destination for affluent buyers. For a while, the luxury segment exploded. That has reversed. The luxury buyer pool has shrunk. High-end homes, once fueled by low interest rates, second home buyers, remote professionals. Overseas wealth now face diminished competition. Listings build up. In the 375 mailer range, months of inventory have accumulated. Luxury buyers are more analytical today, less impulsive. Cash buyers demand discounts. Cash once meant speed. Now it means leverage. Cash buyers compare coastal property returns to treasuries, dividends, equities, alternative assets. Real estate must justify its opportunity cost. Many sellers misprice. Takeaway: Dana Point is still desirable, but liquidity has weakened. Luxury buyers want value, not just views. Vior, Laguna Beach, beauty versus risk. Laguna Beach is a global brand. Art festivals, cliffside homes, dramatic coves, minimal land supply. But scarcity doesn't guarantee stability. Market stalemate: sellers cling to peak pandemic valuations. Buyers reject those numbers. The result? Listings stagnate. Insurance is the pressure point. Coastal, plus hillside, plus wildfire exposure is a difficult combination. Major carriers have tightened underwriting dramatically. Many owners now rely on state-backed policies, surplus carriers, more expensive premium structures. Lenders hesitate when insurance is unstable. Prestige doesn't equal liquidity. A home can be stunning and still overpriced. Buyers today care about risk coverage, long-term viability, policy changes, resale timelines. Laguna properties requiring heavy upgrades sit the longest. Takeaway: Laguna Beach will always attract interest, but it now demands serious due diligence. The risk-adjusted return is no longer obvious. 3. Newport Beach. Prestige meets math. Newport has always been the polished crown of Orange County. Harbors, islands, luxury retail, manicured neighborhoods. But prestige has collided with financial reality. Investor retreat. During the low-rate era, investors overlooked low rental yields in exchange for appreciation. Now, mortgage rates are higher. Alternative investments that pay more. Vacant land is scarce. Regulations are tighter. The yield gap is too large to ignore. Listing durations rising. High-end homes stay on the market longer. More price cuts, more seller concessions, more buyers walking away. Short-term rentals restricted. Newport has enforced stricter STR rules. Some neighborhoods have banned them outright. Owners who expected supplemental income must now manage full carrying costs alone. Takeaway: Newport Beach is still desirable, but the financial equation must be treated as an investment decision, not a fantasy. 2. Santa Monica. The image no longer matches the numbers. Santa Monica is one of the most photographed coastal cities in the world. But markets do not move based on imagery, they move based on fundamentals. And those fundamentals are shifting. Commercial weakness: office vacancies have risen, daytime foot traffic has fallen, retail turnover has increased. When a city's commercial core weakens, residential values eventually feel the effect. Transfer taxes, reshaping the luxury market. New high-value property taxes have made wealthy owners rethink selling. This has reduced listing volume, complicated transactions, lowered mobility, raised seller hesitation, quality of life. Adjustments: areas affected by encampments or safety concerns have seen steeper price declines. Buyers adjust offers based on perceived stability. Takeaway: Santa Monica remains iconic, but buyers must evaluate long-term urban policy and economic trends, not nostalgia. 1. Malibu. The most beautiful, most vulnerable market in the state. Malibu is the ultimate paradox: breathtaking and fragile. Insurance exodus. This is the biggest risk factor in the entire California coastline. Major insurers have reduced or eliminated coverage due to wildfires, landslides, cliff erosion, storm damage, long-term climate projections. Owners are turning to last resort policies costing tens of thousands annually. Financing challenges. Without insurance, mortgages can't close. Buyers walk, appraisals, fall, demand evaporates, listings, stalling. Luxury homes once sold quietly, often off-market. Now, listings remain. For months, cuts are significant. Liquidity is limited. Shoreline retreat, geological reports show. Bluff instability, beach narrowing, substructure, risk, long-term land loss. These are not theoretical projections, they're measured changes. Takeaway: Malibu offers unmatched beauty but now requires the strictest financial, environmental, and insurance diligence of any market in the state. Final analysis. California's coastline is not collapsing, but it is transitioning from emotion-driven to data-driven, from scarcity-driven to risk-adjusted. The new buyer must be analytical, disciplined, insurance-aware, cost-conscious, strategic, long-term focused. The era of assuming coastal property only appreciates is over. The market is smarter now, and those who enter must be smarter too.